Here's the infamous list of 28 places women don't want to go on their very first date. I'm not really mad at it. Let's talk about it. Welcome back or welcome to Uncle ABL. In today's video, we got to tackle the infamous list. It goes viral every few weeks, I feel like. This is the 28 places women don't want to go on their very first date. Now, I'm not really mad at it, really. I think that the list is kind of accurate. Some things are a little ridiculous. I'll explain why, but I'm not really mad at the list. First of all, if you've not been dating for 5 years or more, this might be kind of foreign to you. If you live in small town USA, same thing. It's going to be foreign to you. If you're living in the big city, you're living in New York, Miami, Los Angeles especially, definitely LA, Atlanta, Georgia, you're living anywhere like that, this make a lot of sense. And some are going to say, well, look, if we can't go to 28 places on the first date, then where can we go? Don't worry, Uncle ABL is here to give you a list of alternatives that will not break the bank, because that's one main thing. People are saying, oh, you got this big crazy list. What are we going to do? We can't afford it. Don't worry about it. I got you. I'm going to go through each one and give my opinion about it. All right. Now, Cheesecake Factory, Applebee's, Chili's. I could put these all together. Same thing, Olive Garden. I could put those all together. These are not bad restaurants. And again, if you live in this small town USA, this is going to be foreign because you're like, what do you mean? The best restaurant in my town is Cheesecake Factory. That might be the case. If you're living in, I'm going to use Atlanta all the time because that's kind of where I live. You're living in Atlanta, you could do better. You can find small little spots, downtown, midtown, Buckhead, even outside the perimeter, that will not break the bank. I said it in my previous video. I don't spend more than $75 to $100 on a dinner date. That's my limit. If you're spending $400 US, including parking, listen, I'm not going to spend that much. I'm going to spend a low amount of money relatively because I'm not going to put a large investment into a first date. And I'm just money conscious. But Cheesecake Factory, Applebee's, these are family kind of restaurants. You go there with your people. It's a graduation. It's something like that. Work colleagues, you can go there with some of these people. Some girls are not really going to trip. It's not really a big idea to go to a Cheesecake Factory. However, some are not going to like it. Also, before I go any further into the list, Wingstop, all that, if there's a high level of attraction, it doesn't really matter. I've taken girls to Buffalo Wild Wings and they ready to get it rocking immediately in that situation because there was already a high level of attraction. But what we do in 2024, we're on dating apps. We don't know these girls at all that we are linking up with to go on a date. So when you say, okay, let's go to Denny's for the first time, it's a turnoff because they don't know you. There's no room to get any kind of level of attraction, any kind of feelings. You're just another person on the app. So be mindful. Let's keep on going. The movies. I don't actually like movies for a date at all, even if I'm with the girl and I've been with her for a while, because I can't talk to her. We're just sitting in this dark room for a couple of hours. I don't like movie dates at all. I mean, if we've been knowing each other for a long time, we're married, relationship, okay, that's different because, we're just going to the movie together. We can discuss afterward. But if I'm trying to get to know you, first date is not a good date. Your house. I don't invite anybody to my house on the first date because I don't know you. That's a safety issue for me. You could be somebody that might set me up, might put something in my drink. I don't trust that. I don't invite anyone that I don't know to my home. So no, I'm not doing that. Fast food, of course. I mean, come on. Let's not be silly. Let's not try to say, hey, X, Y, and Z girl, you want to go to McDonald's for a first date? Come on. That's ridiculous. You don't take girls to McDonald's on a date. Buffalo Wild Wings, I've done that and it was fine, but I can understand why a girl doesn't know you, doesn't want to go there. Wingstop, same thing, like Chipotle, all of that, Olive Garden. Red Lobster, it's the same kind of thing. A buffet, yeah, you don't really want to do that. IHOP, IHOP ain't really gonna rock. Denny's, Jim, The gym, I've heard about people going to the gym on the first date. That's not necessarily a bad one because if you guys are both like gym rats, especially, and you might have even met her there. So if you meet a girl at a gym and y'all are talking and y'all working out together, that might be considered your first date right away. But again, if you're on these apps, which most of us are, that's not really going to be where you want to go, but it can work. It can definitely work. Church, I don't really see how it's like going to the movies almost. But if you are both religious, that's not necessarily a bad place to go. Starbucks, coffee dates. I don't really believe in coffee dates at all. People sometimes they kind of get on me about that. Oh man, it's a good thing to do. I think you can, rather than going on the coffee date, you could do FaceTime and speak to her and get the same thing accomplished as a coffee date does. On a coffee date, you're not going to build any kind of romantic interest. You're not really going to learn a lot about this person that you could not learn just from talking to them on the FaceTime. Because here's what happens. Going back to the apps, we connect on the apps. Then we're trying to get together, trying to link up. You're trying to do some very low investment thing like a coffee date. You're wasting a lot of time doing that. You're not really going to have anything happen afterward. It's going to end right there. Just talk to her on FaceTime, communicate with her that way, and then go to a date that's beyond the coffee date. Ice cream dates, I don't like ice cream personally. Family functions, no, because if I bring her on my family, they're going to think that's my next wife, and no, you're not my wife. I don't know you. Movie night, again, that goes back to inviting somebody to your house. I'm not into that. A long drive, that's something else. One thing I do, if I'm speaking to somebody, I'm like, hey, what part of the city are you in? Because I want to schedule a date. I'll tell you kind of where I go, but not the exact place. I want to schedule a date close to where you are. Not necessarily right across the street, but I'm not trying to have you drive beyond 25 minutes, 30 minutes. That's kind of outside of your way. I want to make things kind of easy. 15, 20-minute drive max. That's kind of what I like to do. Same thing if you're taking a train or you're on an Uber, same distance. Bowling is not a bad date. A first date, maybe not so much, but I enjoy a bowling date for sure. I'm not going to rule that out for a first date because they have some bowling alleys like Atlanta. They got the painted pen. You guys might know about that. You can go get drinks. They got food and you got the bowling plus other activities. It's a social event. You might see friends you know there. So a spot like that makes sense. A regular old school bowling alley with just chicken fingers, that ain't really what I would want to do. I would go to a place that's more of a social kind of loungy environment for bowling if that's the first date. A hookah, I don't like hookah at all. I hate hookah. I hate grass walls, hookah. I don't do that at all. I wouldn't advise a nightclub. See, that's something else right there. Nightclub. I wouldn't advise going to a nightclub for a date at all. What's the name? A bar just for the drinks. Now, here's where I disagree completely. A bar for drinks is a very good first date because you are trying to build romantic interest. You're trying to have a low investment, but it's not going to be a bad place. It's going to be a nice spot. It's not going to be a hole in the wall. You might spend $50, $75 on drinks. You're not going to be a cheapskate, but at the same time, you're not trying to just have her use you for food. All right, you want something to eat at the house, get your cooking on. All right, we are going to the bar, having a few drinks. We're going to be side by side, talking, and we can communicate that way over that. So I don't like that one being there. Okay, I'm not really a fan of that. Waffle House, nah, I mean, come on. That's the same thing as going to the buffet or whatever. Sporting events are good for dates, maybe not a first date. You want to go to a Braves baseball game. You want to go to a football game. These are very good dates. But for the first date, again, it's kind of hard to communicate and talk and get to know you more in that situation. So a lot of these on the list I agree with, but some of them are kind of silly. I think the main ones that I would do, a bar for drinks, and what's the other one? I think bowling, I would do that. But beyond that, no, the rest of these is pretty much on point. Now, I'm going to close with where I would go. You got nice Italian restaurants all over the place, smaller locations, ethnic food, some African, some Asian. Ask her, again, on the FaceTime call when you're getting to know her, hey, what kind of food do you like? Where do you like to go? What's your favorite restaurants? What do you like to, you know, ask her interests, what she likes. Hey, have you ever had this kind of food? Like what I like to do, here's a little secret just from me, straight from your unk. I like Filipino food. Being from Virginia, it's a lot of Filipino food spots out there. Now, being out here close to Atlanta, they don't know about that. So when I break it down to them, if I know they like food that's kind of similar to it, I bring them to that kind of spot. And then I say, hey, you should get this and get that. So now I'm like an aficionado. I got good recommendations. That makes sense in that situation. And it's not going to be an expensive spot. It's going to be nice, kind of loungy. That's kind of how I do it. I don't just say, all right, well, I take it to a very expensive spot because you don't want to go to Cheesecake Factory. To be totally honest, a Cheesecake Factory is expensive for the kind of food they have. I can take a girl to a spot that's actually cheaper with better food and she'll appreciate it more than a Cheesecake Factory. So it's not all about expenses and whatnot. It's about the experience. And again, if you've not been dating for the past 5 years or you live in a small town, this doesn't really apply to you. If you're my age or younger and you're single, you're dating, and you're in these big city areas, you can do this kind of thing, and that list wouldn't really be a big problem. But that's pretty much all I got. And if you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.